The destruction by Ivan, and the many other hurricanes that have battered the Southeast since then, offers a glimpse of our future with climate change, especially if we do not significantly reduce greenhouse emissions within the next few years. And of course, it is not just hurricanes. River flooding, coastal land loss, droughts, wildfires, and heat waves. Climatologists predict that the Southeast will see more than its fair share of disruption, suffering, and loss in the Anthropocene. Ivan also lashed the ecosystems along the Alabama and northwest Florida coast. Over the next year, I revisited many of my favorite natural areas along these coasts. Some places were unrecognizable. Trees I remembered from my youth were gone. The dunes had vanished. Swamp trees had been delimbed or snapped in half, and the waters beneath filled with appliances, building fragments, and every variety of household belonging that can float. Salt water carried inland by the storm surge had pooled in low areas and killed acres of forest. It was devastating to see. But just as coastal residents rebuilt their communities, these natural areas recovered in the months and years that followed. Ivan wasn't anything new for the coastal ecosystems in its path. They'd weathered dozens of storms just as intense over the past several thousand years. On the barrier islands, where the damage was worst, nature wasted no time. Plants and animals recolonized. Tides and breezes brought sand back to the island, and winds began rebuilding the dunes. The scars from the storm became part of the new landscape. Slash pines, killed by saltwater, became nesting trees for ospreys. Channels cut through the barrier islands by the storm surge became lagoons and marshes. Some eventually filled with sand, while others persist 2 decades later. At Gulf Island's national seashore, south of Gulf Breeze, the surge had swept away the dunes, leaving behind flat expanses of sand littered with chunks of the destroyed road. These areas were a boon to birds that breed along the shoreline. Terns, skimmers, and plovers, species that nest on the bare ground, bred here by the thousands. They liked the ability to see approaching predators and the absence of human interlopers, because the roads had washed out. Over the next few years, native beach plants colonized these overwashed areas, and blowing sand collecting against them became the first new dunes. In ecology, succession is the name we use for the destruction by Ivan, and the many other hurricanes that have battered the Southeast since then, offers a glimpse of our future with climate change, especially if we do not significantly reduce